Alrighty. Thanks for coming. Yeah. So what I want to share in this session is what we call liver chi stagnation.
What we call what?
Liver chi stagnation.
Okay.
Okay. So our liver channel goes from the big toe, okay, through the inside of the leg. You know, basically, essentially pass through our groin area, continue through our breast, okay, or chest, and join our thumb. Okay, so this is the liver channel all the way up to about here, and then becomes the lung channel. Okay, so in Chinese medicine we talk about channels. Channels are like rivers. Okay, so it's just one river feeding into another river, and then going. So essentially, there's an endless loop. Okay, no beginning, no end. They continue to nourish the entire body. So every cell within the body receives what we call the channel qi, the channel energy. Okay, when the channel energy is not flowing through properly, then we're going to start to have issues. Okay, breast cancer, 50% of the breast cancer happens right here. That's exactly what I just described. Okay, the liver channel needs to come up through here, pass through our chest, energize this area, okay, continue to the thumb. It gets blocked right here because suppression. Okay, this is not a physical condition, this is a suppression, meaning that we don't feel like we're thriving. Okay, we have no choice in life. Okay, various things, injustice, you just name it, right? There's a sense of, I don't know what to do, right? There's a sense that I have no choice, right? Things like that. So I'm going to go deeper into, some of from a Chinese medicine standpoint. Yeah. So normally people come in with signs and symptoms. Okay, some of the signs and symptoms for liver chi stagnation is, stomach issues, digestion, bloating, depression, hard asleep, anxiousness, stuff like that. Okay, people come, for women it's going to be menstruation issues. For people going through menopause, you're going to have just a general unwellness, okay? Because things are actually not flowing through, okay? So if we can take, this channel system, which is another type of circulation system, okay, in Chinese medicine, but cannot be detected nor seen very easily, okay? This is not like a blood flow or lymph flow where you can sort of quantify what's going on, and there's actual physical blood vessels and lymph nodes and stuff like that. You can actually see it, right? The channels, you can't really see it. Okay? We can all feel it very easily, but you cannot see it, right? You cannot detect it because it's such a microcurrent. Right now, there's just no reliable way to detect it. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It's just there's no reliable way to detect it, right? But to me, there's evidence from illness that's very, very obvious. So let's continue this river analogy. Okay, so the liver channel comes in, mighty liver river. Okay, it's really honestly, it's really the strongest, most vibrant channel in our body. Okay, when a person, it's like I am thriving, I have a purpose, and you can't deny me. Okay, you can set a ceiling for me. You can try this, you can try that, but you know what? I am thriving because it's my choice. And that choice can never ever be taken away, and that's the gift of liver channel. Okay. So right now, just try this. Okay, let's try this. See how you feel. Okay. Eyes level. Okay. Feet on the ground. Okay. Okay. Eyes level, feet on the ground. From our heart. Just have this faint, the slightest sense, or curse if you want, I have a purpose. I am going to thrive from this moment on for the rest of my life. automatically you'll be centered. Automatic. Okay? So the channels are driven by our thoughts. It's not like, okay, some magical person has to, bless you or something like that. Then your channels are going well. No. Channels are driven by us completely. Okay? If I just look over there and I say, who's that? Our channel is going to run immediately different. We're being high alert. Okay? And say, oh, okay, nobody. No, there's somebody, but I can't see. Then our channels actually start to go in a different direction. That's why we can watch movies and feel like we're part of the movie.
Yeah, part of the movie, right?
Okay? We are actually there because it changes our channel, it changes all our senses, our emotions, and everything else. Right? So we have that capability. We just need to use that to truly benefit ourselves. Okay?
Excuse me, could you repeat what you had us do when we started again? You said, I have a purpose.
Yes.
And what else did you say?
I am going to thrive.
I am going to thrive.
Yes. So there are a few phrases that I use in the clinic. Okay. For cancer patients, they will tell me, straight, right away. They say, okay, I have cancer, and I'm a survivor for year 2, 3, 10, 20. Okay. They say, okay, this is the very last time you're going to use the word survivor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it has no energy.
Right. Yeah.
If you just say, I'm surviving, automatically you're going to do this. Okay? You'll not be able to rise up. Okay? You are surviving. Something's going to happen to me. I don't know when. I don't know where. Okay? There's no power in surviving. Right? But if we, I actually run a cancer support group. So the first thing we do is to say, okay, I'm not going to use the word survival. We're going to use the word thrive. Okay? Because thriving is a choice. Thriving is a choice that nobody can take away from us. Okay? To me, it's our right and our responsibility as well. Yeah. Okay? Sometimes I substitute it's like I also use the word lighthouse. I am a lighthouse.
I saw that in the.
Yeah. I am a lighthouse. I may have only one candle.
Yeah.
I'm a one candle lighthouse, okay? Situated on a sandy beach. Okay, the next wave comes in, whoosh, right? But I'm gonna come back up as a lighthouse again. Okay, I refuse to be a candle in the wind. I refuse to blame the storm, the wave, anything else. I refuse to blame people for my suffering. If you do that, you do not have liberty stagnation. When we have a target we need to blame, we have liberty stagnation. Okay. We're blocking this thriving energy from coursing through our body. So we feel we're in charge. We have choices. Okay. Probably one of the best examples is Jesus on the cross. Okay. I'm not religious and I'm not trying to push religion. Okay. There are plenty of these examples. Right? He's on the cross. What does he do? Continue to love unconditionally all his disciples, all the Roman soldiers. Okay? That's his choice. There's no forgiveness. Okay? To me, people say, my brother is a pastor. Every time he goes like, oh, we need to forgive. I say, no, do not forgive people. Because when you forgive, that means something is wrong. Okay? And your pastor, follow Jesus, please. Jesus has no capacity to forgive. It's impossible for him to forgive because he loves unconditionally. And when we do that, there's no suffering. Okay, everything has a purpose. Everyone has a heart of gold. Okay. So the traditional way, and I want to, more specific on Chinese medicine. So in this diagram, there is these progressions. Okay, so if we can go through that a little. Okay, so start from the left. There's signs and symptoms. Right, bloating, digestion issues, can't sleep, anxiety, depression, menstruation issues. You name it. Okay, basically everything. Any patient that comes in has liver cheese. Okay. Pretty much every practitioner has liver qi stagnation. So we diagnose this and we say, oh, it's a liver qi stagnation. It's a very classic, pretty much the first thing we learn in Chinese medicine school. If these matches, then liver qi stagnation, and then it goes into protocol treatment. Okay? So the typical protocol treatment is to say, okay, the liver qi stagnation, what does it mean from a river standpoint? Is the mighty liver river comes up, hit a block, and it floods into stomach, into our spleen. Okay, it creates a flood here. Okay, and the flood actually creates digestive issues, eating issues, and you name it, right? Menstruation issues and stuff like that. Okay. So the classic way, or at least the way we're taught to do, is to drain the. Okay, there's a flood. We just want to get this water out as much as we can, right? So from a signs and symptoms standpoint, it really truly lessens the signs and symptoms. The person may come in with very, fairly severe symptoms, and he would, this person will actually leave with a sense that, oh, my symptoms are reduced. Okay, but in my opinion, it's not the proper treatment. Okay. Because liver qi stagnation, when it's like we flush the toilet and the water comes out. The toilet is not broken. There's something that's blocking this water from going through, so it goes back up. So that's what we're seeing, and we say, okay, clean the water, right? or fix the toilet, right? No, there's a blockage. Okay. So the long-term. The long-term issue with treating liver qi stagnation with draining method, whether it's needles or herbs or formulas, right, is eventually it makes liver and lung, which is the next channel that the liver feeds to, extremely deficient. Okay. So if you heard on the street, in the clinic, or in school, and you hear people go lung deficient, okay, most likely caused by long-term liver qi stagnation treatment. Okay, and I obviously have professors that cough like that, and because he goes to another person that does liver qi, liver 3 all the time. So then you have a whole new set of problems, signs and symptoms. Okay, and that set of problems are much harder to treat, because now we're dealing with true deficiency in the body rather than a blockage. Okay, so when we have very severe symptoms, that means we have very good energy. We have water that floods. Okay, when there's no water, and you block here, there's no flood, there's no symptom. You don't even feel it. So then there's a sort of like a branch, right, from liver qi stagnation. So the approach that I would recommend is to truly, like, what exactly, what's causing the blockage? And I'm going to talk about, how do we determine, what the blockages are. And to truly restore the person. So the liver qi stagnation, so there's no blockage. Okay. And then the liver flows, mightily into the lung channel, and the person will be thriving, okay, all the way to the last breath. So that's the goal. That's my clinic goal. My clinic goal is not to treat a person, okay? Because the only thing I can guarantee is whoever sees me is gonna die. Okay? That's the only thing I can guarantee, right? And I remember when I first started Chinese medicine school, it's the first or second semester, I asked every teacher, it's like, okay, what do we do when a person is about to die? Okay, send it to the hospital, call 911. Right? And I said, then why are we learning this? Why are we learning this? Right? I want to care for my mom, my dad, right? I want to care for my patients to the very last breath. That's what I want to do. That's what, honestly, that is my goal. My goal is not to say, okay, you're good, but when you are not really, really not good, and I have absolutely no idea what to do, don't come to me. Okay? I take terminally ill patients because I believe as long as you have, 1 day to live, 3 days to live, right, 1 breath to live, you can thrive. And I've seen this, quite a few times. Okay. So let me give you, one example. So I had this 50-year-old guy. He had colon cancer, lung cancer that's inoperable. Okay. And I think he also has skin cancer. So he has multiple kinds of cancer. Okay. When he saw me, he's like, "Oh, John, I got like 3 months to live," or something like that. Right? I said, "Well, that's good." Okay. And his lung cancer was not operable. So we treat, and honestly, the thing we do is not to treat his body. I say, well, I don't know how, I don't know, I'm not going to treat your body, right? But we're going to connect differently, right? So what we're doing actually, you come to my home, my mom's place, and all we do is what we just did. I have a purpose. I am a lighthouse. I connect to loving kindness. And through loving kindness, I connect to my kids and my family, right? And because unconditional love has no space and time limitation, so I can be gone and they can still love me without condition. And when they can love me without condition, they have no suffering. So that's what we did. And he was able to connect to his family very, very quickly. Like 2 weeks later, he told me this, and we actually cried together. He said, "John, I don't worry about my how long I can live. I don't, it's like dying is not an issue for me because now I know how to live." He knows how to connect. He's not, because when he first came in, he was so anxious. So that's the issue, right? That's the issue with terminally ill patients is they're very anxious. Like, okay, what will my family do when I'm gone, right? Right? And he passed away, and I actually went to his celebration a few days ago, and that was beautiful. Okay, I actually got to. I didn't know beforehand, but the people I met there, like, I actually met his mom, met his wife, several other people who are very, very close to him. They all say, he talked a lot about me because he was able to connect very, very differently. Okay, so to me, we need to do that first, right? It becomes a cultivation. Right? So every person that we talk to, for example, I'm seeing you guys here, right? I connect to loving kindness, and I connect to your heart of gold. That's all I do. That's all I want to do. I do not want to sympathize with anybody because that causes so much problems. So let me go there, okay? So normally this is how we interact with people. Okay? We can use sympathy. Okay? We can use empathy. Okay? Or we can use compassion. So this is how I do it. Okay? I don't want to use sympathy. Sympathy means I feel so sorry. You're so young and you have little kids. How can you have this? No power. The person is already in the hole. All I'm doing is, kick more sand in the hole. And I'm in there too. So that's sympathy. Okay? Energy always goes both directions. Okay? You cannot say, I have a Chinese medicine degree, that's why I can heal you, and the energy only go one direction. Okay, that's science fiction. Okay? Energy goes both directions. Okay? Empathy is a beautiful skill. It's a beautiful attribute. Okay, a lot of people empathize, and most people who empathize really well is because they have trauma, they experience abuse, or when they're actually very young. Okay, the family may be chaotic, right? And they have to know. You know, without seeing, without hearing, they have to know from a highly sensitive. So we can feel beyond these five senses. We can feel so much more beyond the five senses. Okay? So for people who grew up in chaotic, family or environment or something like that, their senses, right? The so-called intuition. Intuition is not something magical. Intuition is actually, to me, is the most real thing. It's taking consideration of all the factors, and somehow this person can have a conclusion. It's very, very interesting. Intuition is not something that's magical. It is true for that person. Okay? It feels. You probably have a lot of intuition yourself. Anyway, so empathy is intuition, or empathy is like a mirror. Okay, a person shows up in the mirror. You see it very clearly, emotionally, physically, the whole 9 yards. Okay. However, if we sympathize at the same time, when the person leaves that mirror, the image stays with it. Okay. So sympathy plus, so these two combined together, you get wounded healers. So when I first got started about 8 years ago, I met two people, and they were teaching me Training. They were wounded healers. Okay? They've been doing this for 40 years or something like that. Okay? They were wounded physically and emotionally. When I first met them, I thought, man, that's the most noble thing in the world. What can be more noble than sacrifice your body and soul for other people? Isn't that the most noble thing? Right? 2 weeks into it, I said, no, that is so cruel. Right? I want to do this. I want my kids to do this. Right? I want everybody to do this. Then everybody's going to end up physically and emotionally broken. Okay? And later I know, when we are wounded healer, we're actually doing nobody any good. We're not doing anything for the patient. So what does that mean? Are we still going to care and love and serve? Absolutely, right? Take a different route. This is compassion. Compassion and empathy, if you add them together, to me that is tremendous. Okay? Compassion cannot be defined. There's no list. Okay. Say, okay, if you do 100 or 1,000 things, then you're a compassionate person. Compassion cannot be defined. Okay. Compassion is just what's most empowering at the moment. So it has a lot to do with our heart rather than our brain. Okay? Our brain always want to do the right thing. The heart always do what's most empowering. Okay. I'm going to erase this, okay? So this is critical, actually. This is the first step. Okay, when we so when I meet somebody in the clinic, for example, I would say, what can we do together? I never say, how can I help you?
Oh, right.
How can I help you? Automatically puts us in this position.
Right.
What can we do together? Right? What can we do together? And connect differently. The first the first point of contact is actually very, very critical. Okay? I have so many people tell me, like, in the clinic, it's like, when I say, what can we do together? They will look at me like, what kind of a question is that, right? And they say, I'm here to get help. I say, you're in the wrong place. There's no help here, okay? If you're willing to empower yourself, take a seat, okay? I absolutely don't want to help you. Absolutely. Because, you know, I have a patient, you know, I call him my patient of the year. So my clinic is like under, you know, is on the second floor, and the first floor is actually a Chinese medicine school that has its own clinic. Okay, so he was actually referred by one of the interns to come up, right? And he came up and he hobbled. He actually took the elevator and he came in like this. And I said, what can we do together? He's like, I need some help. I said, you're in the wrong place. Right? And then we explain why, right? And in my clinic I have a full-size mirror, right? I brought a ballet bar, right? And what I told him to do was to look straight into his beautiful eyes, okay? Because he was in so much pain, he's doing this. He couldn't see his own eyes. Okay? Everything is about protection, protection, protection. I mean, if you're doing this, how can you walk? Right? So we got him to look into his beautiful eyes, you know, with the hands on the bar, right, and start to walk like this. Okay? Nothing else. Just this. And feel your balance. Feel your balance. Feel your balance. And he went like, oh, my shoulders are not even. Okay, so honestly, he walked out, he took the stairs, next week took the stairs, and he's been my patient of the year ever since, for the last 2 years. We never did anything for him. Never treated him, never once a needle, right? Now he's doing things like, should we sign you up for ballet? You know? Right? And he was a veteran. His knees were all, you know, one leg that's kind of crooked, and the other one kind of like that. So he's really, I mean, he's been through a lot, right? And he was downstairs in the clinic for, you know, at least a year, if not more, weekly, very, very diligently, right? And to me, it's like, no, you can do it. If you can move your toe, okay? If you can come up here, you don't need help. You need to find your balance. You need to use the simple thing. So all we do is like, okay, you go home, you say, oh, what do I do? You say, okay, you go home. Every time you go to the bathroom, and hopefully you wash your hands, right? And then you have this mirror in front of you, do the same stupid thing. Okay? And he did. And he changed his life. Okay? So in my clinic, that's what we do. Okay? The goal is not to retain patients. Okay, it's like you come in and hopefully you keep coming in. Okay, you know, forever. Okay, the goal is to empower. Now he comes to my clinic every Wednesday, not as a patient. Okay, he comes in and serve others because. In my clinic, after a while, there's no distinguished, you know, there's no practitioner and patients in it.
Right.
Okay? When we are all empowered, it's like, hey, he is really, really good at holding people's, you know, foot. Right? And you would say, John, you know, it's magical for me to hold people's feet. And he'll be so straight. Okay? So how do we get our balance? Okay? When we sit, we gotta feel our sit bone. Okay, too many people sit and it's like one-sided, then the spine is not straight. Okay, then your energy is not proper. Okay. And when we stand, you know, we gotta feel you know, our body weight is evenly distributed. Right, our knees are not long. Okay, feel this section of our body. Okay, from the perineum, which is room 1. Okay, through our pelvis, through this entire section, like a bucket. Okay? Like a bucket, right? So when we move, we don't want the bucket to lean. So when we move the entire bucket. Okay? It's like waiters or waitresses, you know, having, you know, 10 bowls of soup, Okay?
Oh, yeah, right.
And when we walk like that, every step we take is a cultivation. We use mindfulness, right? And then when we see people that are standing like this, crossing hands, right? It's guaranteed this person is going to have knee issue. It's a guarantee. And how do we fix that knee issue? Just by changing the posture. The needles honestly doesn't. Needles cannot fix something like this. Okay? It just doesn't. Right? So the lifestyle change, right? Mindfulness, and you truly empower a person. Right? Because eventually we're going to see a piece of mirror, and if we can do that and go through the sense of mindfulness and look into our own eyes and say, you know what? I love you. Okay? That changed our life. Okay? We're not judging ourselves. We're not worried about other people judging us. That is thriving, right? We may be the smallest blade of grass in a giant sequoia forest, but we don't need to compare ourselves against anybody else. That to me is true freedom.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, that's what we do all day, right? It's like, you know. Okay? All right. So hopefully, so let me go into the framework that I use. Okay, so this framework come to me sometime around March or April this year. Okay? And I had a different framework before this framework, but it doesn't explain everything I think I should be describing. But this framework so far has been spot on so many issues at so many levels. Okay? So here's the key. Okay, so to me this is my framework. This can be yours, or you modify it however you want. It can be exactly the same as mine, but when you use it and you cultivate it, it becomes yours. And you can absolutely say, this is my framework. Okay? There's no pattern on this at all. Okay? This fits everybody. Okay? So we have, so to me, this is a functional model of a person. Okay? In a very, very general sense. So to me, it applies to everything. I call this MCA 2024. So MCA is stands for Mindfully Centered Approach. Okay, so it's not a protocol, it's approach. So we have ear, we have eye, we have nose, we have tongue. And also we have a body, and we have our thoughts. Okay? So it's all in the diagram, you don't have to do it. So I'll kind of follow along, okay? So external stimulus comes in through our five senses. So this is external stimulus, okay? The combination of these five senses plus our thought start to enter our brain system. Okay? So the first thing it encounters is our reptilian brain. And reptilian brain, based on a set of reflex, generate commands. Okay? So all these things comes into our reptilian brain. Our brain system is so interesting. Okay, I would imagine for us to evolve, it's like, oh, we got this primitive brain, right? Then why does it just grow bigger and bigger and bigger, right? It's like you have this brain that gets better and better. No, it operates like a helmet system. Okay, it's like you got the reptilian brain, and then put on a helmet called limbic brain, which is our emotional brain, and then the frontal cortex. Right? So if we continue to evolve, essentially we have more and more helmet. Okay, so the reptilian brain is the same like a lizard, very similar. Okay, it reflex. Right? Why? Because it's the fastest response. Okay. let's say I'm driving, and the car next to me come a little bit closer into my boundary, I automatically lose, right? And then I come back and restore my safety, and then I know this person, this idiot, almost hit me, okay? Right? That's when we know. Okay? So we have these sequence, the signal actually sent sequentially into these things, okay? So then it sends to limbic brain, then I call it the midbrain, and then it's our left and right brain. Okay. So the reptilian brain, between the reptilian brain and the response of the left and right brain, it's documented roughly 0.2 to 0.8 seconds later. Okay. So on the freeway, if we don't have the system, we can probably drive 30 miles an hour. Okay, we cannot drive 80 miles an hour, right? Because time. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the reptilian brain, based on a set of reflex, the reflex can be born, right? Like something fly into our eye, we can close our eyes. Okay? Or we hit this, it's gonna kick, right? Or it can be learned, like martial art, dance, various things. Right? We can improve our reflex. Right? For example, if we say, okay, this is my bucket, when I move, I want to move my entire bucket. Okay, I don't want to walk like this anymore. Right? I don't want to front leaning and put so much weight on my knee anymore. We literally change our reflex every step we take. Okay? The body learns, right, by doing it. Okay. So, and because it's so primitive, what we see in the clinic, or what I see in the clinic, is the reptilian brain commands needs to be executed. Okay, this is what the somatic people are talking about. Right? The body needs to release whatever it needs to release. Okay, so this is the reptilian brain commands. If it's not executed, it becomes pending in the body, and it will continue to be in the body. And what you feel is rigidity, okay, high resistance. And when the person is actually relaxed, you see these twitches, okay, or this hand just kind of does something, okay. And a lot of people feel like, why is my body doing this? So they try very, very, very hard to suppress. So with the initial rigidity plus the control, right, and they're gonna get into all kinds of trouble. So the reptilian brain commands are issued, when it's necessary. For example, if I'm driving and I'm about to hit a tree, right, my reptilian brain is gonna shout at me to say, okay, cover your face, right? But I couldn't, and I hit the windshield. For the rest of my life, my hands doesn't know what to do. They want to come up, and it's like, why? It just continue to do this, okay? And people who go through trauma, like violence or sexual trauma, for example, they're pinned down, they couldn't yell, they couldn't run, they couldn't do anything. There's a part of their body that just continue to it's like it's rigid, it try to do something and they have to suppress it. Okay? This is very, very critical for us to know. Okay? Because we're going to see patients like this a lot. Okay? A lot of people have addiction issues or some kind of other issues, emotional issues, and psychic issues, right? A lot of it is because they feel there's another entity within them that just want to do something. But honestly, it's just a protection, or it's an unfinished business in the body. Okay? Pending reptilian brain. Okay. The limbic brain is the emotional brain, and based on triggers, it generates emotions. Emotions like fear, right, anger, shame, regret, jealousy, you name it. Okay, any kind of depression, right, any kind of emotions actually generated from this limbic brain based on a set of triggers. Okay. These triggers are installed based on our experience. And the function of these triggers is actually protection. Okay? So if I'm little and I play piano well, then I get ice cream. If I don't, I get a beating. Okay? So from a very young age, I will have a trigger installed to say, if I don't meet expectation, something really, really bad is going to happen. Okay? So I will actually go through life like that. Okay? Because these triggers are always protected. They are also persistent, meaning they do not expire. Ever. Okay? And they are global, meaning anything resembles my dad's expectation will trigger this trigger. So it could be teachers, could be at a workplace, right? You name it, in the family, right? Getting to a relationship, right? These things, the person will just continuously getting triggered, right? And every time it gets triggered, the emotion will come out. Mostly in that scenario, it will be fear, for example, right? And the sense of what's expected of me. Right? So we always ask that question. Right? Let me give you an example of the power of why is it persistent. It does not expire. Okay? So a lady came from Italy to visit her daughter, and they came to my mom's place. Okay, she is 87, and she was on the table. Then the heater came on. Okay, and her eyes grew big, and she was really frightened. Her body does this. It's like, what's that sound? Okay. And the daughter went, oh, it's the heater that came on. And she said, it sounds just like the bombers in World War II. That was 80 years ago. Or 80 years ago. This trigger is still fully active.
Yeah.
It still continues to monitor her environment. So she's actually very anxious all the time. Okay? Another example is this guy, probably in his 50s, and he has phobia. Okay? He has trouble going to elevators, going to airplanes and stuff like that. So he went to see the and he said, oh, I have a great psychotherapist or psychologist to teach him like coping mechanism. Like he will prepare a bag. It's the worst case bag. So he would take that bag to the elevator, to the airplane, because that's his worst case bag. Okay, but he's still anxious. So I talked to him and I said, okay, have you had experience when you were young that you were being confined and you were hopeless? Okay, and he went, my sister wrapped me up in a blanket, and that's exactly how I felt. I said, hey, you got that trigger.
Yeah.
So you can't go into an elevator. You can't go into an airplane. It's a confined space where you feel hopeless, helpless, hopelessly helpless. You cannot get out when you want to get out. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. So these triggers, and how do we resolve this? Okay? So let me finish this, and then we'll go into how to, because everything we talk about can be resolved. Okay? If we cannot resolve it, don't talk about it. Okay? Not useful, right? Okay. So and then we'll go into the midbrain. Okay, the midbrain has no. So all these are kind of like database or library, if you will. Okay, it's based on past. Okay, the midbrain has no past. Okay, the midbrain is just now. Okay, and what it generates is actually it generates clarity. Okay, and then it goes to the left and right brain. These two are actually called frontal cortex, right? But to me, they have very, very distinct functions. Okay, left and right brain, and the midbrain. Okay, the midbrain is essentially Du channel and Ren channel, or Chinese medicine. And the left and right brain, based on knowledge, okay, can be culture, can be education, can be our experience, can be community, or anything. Right? Can be political campaign. Right? We just learn this, learn that, right? And then we judge. Right? We make judgment. Okay. So left and right brain is essentially gallbladder channel. Gallbladder channel, bladder channel. So a person is highly judgmental. Gallbladder channel wouldn't go down. Fear driven. So all these are database. Okay, so you can I can see this. So we talk about like brain has this. Help me out with this word. Okay, I always have a problem with this word. Plasticity.
Mm-hmm.
Is it correct?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago is good. So to me, these are kind of the hardware. Okay, so these are fixed, but these are the malleable part. These are things we can change. Okay. So midbrain generates clarity based on the current situation. Okay. So all these things, all the generation, all the things that these four brain system generates, change our channel instantaneously. So it changes our channel. Okay. And our channels affect what? Our channels actually affect our thoughts and affect our body. Okay. So after a while, after 80 years, or something like that, right? The external stimulus is no longer needed to drive this entire system. Okay? We can just have sleepless nights, reliving the same nightmare or trauma, if you want. So what is the suffering loop? Okay, so when we put this together, okay, the suffering loop is okay. The suffering loop is the input stimulus comes in, goes through our reptilian brain, goes through our limbic brain, generate emotions, immediately jump to left and right brain, make judgment. Okay, it's injustice. A person is evil, and daughter. Okay, and then it affects our channels, it affects our thoughts and body, and then this goes into a vicious cycle. Just you can't get out. Okay, and then the only way to get out of this, right? Because the thought, honestly, the thought itself is relentless, right?
Yeah.
The self-protection is relentless. So people try to break this loop with what? Addiction. You know, suicide. Right? Okay. Or hurting themselves, right? Or cuts. Or cut themselves. Okay. People do, I mean, honestly, people do a lot of things just to stop that, you know, spinning in the head. Right? Unfortunately, after the effects of these things are over, it actually becomes stronger. Okay? I have several stories like this, but one of them is this guy was kicked out by his dad when he was 12 years old onto the street. Okay? So all his life he is a workaholic, a workoutaholic. He just have to do. Okay, he's anxious all the time, like he never sleeps through the night. Okay, the slightest noise will wake him up. Okay, every other hour he wakes up. Okay, and he said he's always anxious, but one day he actually called me and said, John, you know what? His wife has panic. His wife experienced panic attack, which we figure out why. But he said, oh, I finally know what panic attack is. I had a panic attack. Right? And I said, what did you do like 2 weeks ago? Did you sleep soundly through the night? He said, yeah, CBD was great. you know. And then, okay, so if all these protection, all these perspective on life is not safe. Right? You have to be vigilant all the time. And all of a sudden you sleep soundly through the night. Not just one night, but 2 nights and 3 nights, right? your entire system, the stress hormone, everything else, is going to heighten to no end. Because it needs to bring you back to that hypervigilant state. Because life is not safe.
Wow.
Can you map this to patients that you see? Easily. Right? So honestly, to me, addiction is self-medication.
Right.
Do not see addiction as a problem. Addiction is not a problem. Addiction is a self-medication. It's trying to fix a problem. Okay, it's like the Drano we dump into the drain. Okay, it's toxic, but it's trying to fix a problem. Okay. So how do we change? So the key is, how can we change that suffering loop, the loop that we couldn't get out, right? So with this model, what we do is we have the same thing. What we need to first do is to honor and embrace all our emotions. Truly, truly embrace and honor all our emotions. Anger, fear, anxiety, the whole 9 yards. Shame, jealousy, regrets, hatred, right? Everything. We cannot, on one hand say, I want to love myself, I want to completely, be okay. At the same time, having so many things that we don't want within ourselves. So in the clinic, right, the first thing we do is to embrace all our emotions. Absolutely, completely, all our emotions. So I actually buy these notebooks by the dozens. So it's like, can you please write, honor all your emotions whenever you feel something? Be the most unbiased reporter in the world of yourself, right? Instead of judging yourself to no end, right? And blame others to no end. Can you just, unbiased, without judgment, describe how you feel? Because then we're honoring our emotions. And when we honoring our emotions, we love ourselves. We begin to love ourselves instead of how other people see us, or how we see ourselves through other people's eyes. We begin not to separate ourselves. It's like this evil side or this bright side. This bird on the right shoulder, that bird on the other shoulder. We start to honor ourselves as an entire person. And when we honor our emotions, we start to, these are in the subconscious. Okay, so midbrain is basically in between our conscious and subconscious. Okay, subconscious accounts for at least 95% of our brain capacity. We do so many things subconsciously, it's not funny, honestly. Our liver function, our kidney function, our spleen function, all these are driven by our subconscious. Okay? Our boundary is being protected by our subconscious all the time. Okay? If I'm staying here with this distance, you feel safe, right? If I start to walk, see your anger start to come in. Your fear start to rise. So what's going on? Because I'm entering your boundary.
Right.
Okay? So these are automatic. You cannot. So anger and fear are always protecting our boundary all the time. It's only when our boundaries are not safe, okay, it's compromised, right, that our anger and our fear, just go haywire. Okay? So we gotta, and anger and fear are like negative emotions, right? No. They are necessary emotions. They are absolutely the most beautiful emotions. When a person honors his or her anger, this person will have beautiful boundary. Because you can say no. When the anger or fear is at the very low level, it's in the, not rage level. Okay, anger and fear are spectrum. It's like the music we listen to, right? If it's too too faint, right? Volume is not enough. It's like, where are you? I can't hear a thing, right? But if it's too loud, it's too loud, right? So there's a range where it's beautiful. It's just right? For us to function, only, beautiful, that we can flow. We can honor our emotions, express them without hurting anybody. Okay? But we learn to be nice, right? We learn to be nice. And guess what? Liver chi stagnation, the biggest culprit is being nice. So, people, I got people like this, right? Patients like that, right? And they say, I'm a nice person. I say, no, you're not a nice person. And they will look at me, it's like, what? What do you mean? I always do. I say, you're not nice to yourself. Therefore, you're not a nice person. Everybody thinks you're a nice person, but you're not nice to yourself. Okay? So at some point, this person needs to leave a workplace. And people wonder, it's like, I thought you liked this place a lot. But you guys always take advantage of me, But you always say, I would be happy to do this. I have nothing to do at home anyway. Just to be nice. So it's so important. Okay, so the way to get around this is actually, so we talk about help, right? No more helping. Okay, right? Do everything 100% for home.
Yourself.
Exactly. Right? Everything. When I shared this in a workshop, and the lady said, okay, I got a 4-month-old baby. So every time I change my diaper, I do it. I said, do it for yourself. And she looked at me like I was crazy, right? And I said, try for a week.
Yeah.
She actually called me in 3 days. So you know what? I don't hate my husband anymore. Because every time she did that, then she realized, every time she was doing it, she was like, how come it's my work? Right?
Yeah.
And he does it when he feels like it.
It feels like it.
And not only that, they will have so much fun doing it. Right? Like it's not a chore.
Right. Because he gets to choose.
Right. And to make it into a game or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Actual play, right? So to me, or wash dishes. Right? You come home, it's like everybody laying, somewhere playing games and whatever, right? And you go, oh my gosh, is it true nobody really cares in this family, in this household, right? Then you approach the sink and you start washing it and you count, right? And people just look at you, oh my God, he's home, right? But if you do this for yourself, it's completely different. I'm not saying we're not going to do things. I'm saying everything we do, we have a choice. Okay? Too many people tell me like, John, I can't do that. How, I said, you have a choice. But that would be irresponsible. I said, you can be irresponsible. You can choose to be irresponsible. Why don't you? Right? If you choose to be responsible, then you are making a choice. And if you make a choice, that means you're responsible for that choice 100%. No matter how many people are begging you, threatening you, right? Or dependent on you, do it for yourself. Okay? Then when we make a meal, we wouldn't feel like, okay, people are not liking it. Then we're hurt. That's a candle in the wind. When we do things for ourselves, we are a lighthouse. Okay? We're not trying to shine lights on other people, okay? It's just we have this internal light. And the lighthouse will not say, come to me, come to me. Right? There's no ships. It's like, oh my God, there's no ships coming in. Anyway, so to me, this is another cultivation. Okay, do everything 100% for us. Okay, so through emotion, right, we have a glimpse of these triggers, which are always protective, persistent, and global. Okay, these triggers are not evil. People will say, you know, that's a dark side of me. No, we don't have a dark side. Okay, please, we do not have a dark side. Okay, nobody has a dark side. People may have protective behaviors or very, very poor behaviors and words, right? But everybody has a heart of gold. Okay. So I'll talk about the guiding principle after I finish this. So this is kind of the framework that I use. And to me, this is everybody, how we, I mean, because we all have the same hardware, and we all have, you know, capacity for these software, firmware. Right? So this is like your phone, and these are your apps. You can always change your apps. So through emotion, we have a glimpse of our internal working. Okay, so let's say, how do we do that, right? So when we embrace our emotion, right? For example, the guy that was raped by his sister, he can connect to his sister's heart of gold, right? And just relive that event, right? Knowing this trigger, and actually be very grateful for this trigger, right? And say, you know what? I don't need this anymore. Okay? It was very useful at that time, but I don't need that anymore. And actually, because of that trigger, he's actually the most considerate person ever. He goes into an environment, the first thing he walks into any place and it's like, where are the exits? How do I get out of this if there's a fire?
Yeah.
I mean, be prepared. Right? A lot of the anxious people, they are actually, you don't need to manage them because they're anxious. They will automatically do everything perfectly. You don't have to worry about the thing. Why? Because they have a trigger. They cannot go wrong. Everything has to be considered, right? But at some point, everything is a double-edged sword. At some point, it starts to cut into the person's life, right? It will actually cut into relationships, a lot of the things, right? People's like, okay, John, you know what? This is the 10th relationship that I have, right? And it's not going to work. And this person finally says, I think it's me. I said, yeah, you do have a trigger. Yeah, you experience conditional love, so you cannot have an intimate relationship. Okay? We all desire intimate relationship. We all have triggers to do that. But because we have experience with conditional love, right, we are fearful of intimate relationship. Right? So when it gets close enough, we have to create chaos. And both people are like that, right? Boom.
Yeah.
Right. To me, the most intimate relationship is actually to realize we all have triggers. I honestly wish, we will introduce ourselves. For example, I will introduce me and say, my name's John, and these are my triggers. Okay? Life will be so much easier if we do that. Then we know it's not personal.
Yeah, right.
And then the people that we care about, we can actually truly work on these triggers. And it's honestly, that is beyond beautiful. Beyond beautiful. Okay? Because these are in the subconscious. We're so driven by subconscious. We have no control because this is protection. This is the same thing as a car comes in, we automatically do this. Emotion is to enable motion.
No.
It's to activate something, right? Or internally detect something as like, for example, anxious, anxiety. There's a reason for that. See, we have no enemy. Now we can truly love ourselves. That is the key, right? There's a concept, okay? There's a concept called healing, right? Or healing, what do we heal? We heal what's broken. Okay? When we say we're healing something that's broken. In the clinic, in my clinic, what we do is we don't do healing. Well, we do healing work on things that are truly broken. Okay, like a broken bone or something like that. But what we really would like to do is to revealing what? Revealing what's golden. That's the goal. The goal is not to heal what's broken. And too often we put our heart into the broken category. Like my heart is broken, my heart is broken, my heart, and you try to find somebody to heal it, right? You're not gonna find it. And the reason is, our heart cannot be broken. Our heart is always golden. Okay? All these enlightened beings, tell us our heart is always golden. When we decide to connect to loving kindness and love our parents unconditionally, we connect to their heart of gold, and we are activating our heart of gold at the same time. Okay? And our channel changes, everything is good. So it's a work of revealing, okay? It's a work of truly revealing that we have this golden part that we're being told or experienced as something that's broken. Okay? So, by honoring our emotion, so in the clinic we do 2 steps, okay? One step is honoring our emotions, and then we ask a simple question. Okay? The question is, what's the most empowering thing I can do right now? Okay? The key words are empowering and now. What's the most empowering thing I can do right now? And the reason is, our left and right brain does not understand what empowering means. He will say, what does that mean? I never learned this. Okay? In school, we're not going to say, okay, select the most empowering answer. Right? It's always the right answer. Right? So our left and right brain cannot answer that question. And it doesn't understand now, because everything is based on the past. So the only part of our system that can answer this question is our midbrain, which connects to our heart, is in charge of our hope, curiosity, love, creativity, you name it. So that's why there's a third eye here, right? We call it third eye, third eye, third eye. Third eye is our midbrain. When our midbrain is activated, we're actually connecting to the universe. So that's why Ren channel and Du channels are so important. So when we ask that question, what's the most empowering thing now? The left and right brain cannot answer that question. And if we just ask that question, the midbrain will take it. It will actually go into the subconscious. Okay? It will actually connect to loving kindness, to the universe. And at some point, we'll come back with an answer in the form of absolute clarity. And people can say, why do you want to do that? I don't know. No idea. And that will be the most empowering thing. And 10 minutes later, you can ask the same question with a complete different answer.
Yeah.
And that will be the clarity at that moment. Okay? That's how we get out of the suffering loop. It's by asking that question. It's by honoring all our emotions. Not in the sense that, why did this happen to me? But in a sense, what's the most empowering thing I can do right now? That itself is a thriving question. Right? we have these beautiful plants, right? If I put a cover here, like right here, today, and I come back a year later, it's gonna grow around it. It's not gonna say, right? It's gonna continue to thrive, right? It's gonna do what's most important right now, right? It's not gonna ask, who's the idiot that put this thing here?
Yeah.
Right? They continue to have that sense of injustice. Honestly, all lives other than human have question on thriving. Okay? Only human has the capacity to wonder, what's my purpose in life? Isn't that grand? And I think because of that, we when we suffer, eventually, to me, suffering, because suffering does not end. Okay? I know there are different philosophies or thinking, right? But to me, suffering do not end. These triggers do not end. Simply because one passes away. Okay? It continues. And to me, that is actually benevolent of the universe. Because eventually we suffer enough, we hit the wall long enough, hard enough, we're going to find a window or find an exit. Okay. So the suffering loop is without the midbrain. Okay. Stimulus comes in, we go reptilian, limbic, generate emotion, boom, jump to left and right brain, make judgment. Right. And this actually affect our channel, strengthen how we feel about injustice or whatever. Right. And then continue to feed into it without the midbrain. So that is the suffering cycle, suffering loop. So the key is to introduce, right, by, to feed everything we have objectively without bias, right? This is my life to this point. Okay? This is how I feel right now, without bias. Okay? Truly honoring everything we feel without judgment. And ask the question, what's the most important thing I can do right now? Then the midbrain will actually fetch that question. Okay? Give it time. Okay? Maybe overnight, maybe in a week, maybe in 10 years. Don't know. But at some point, we have this tremendous clarity. And boom, we're completely out of this cycle. So to me, the ideal loop, okay, because we all have four brains, right? Or four functional brains, right? We're not going to say left and right brain is a problem. No, left and right brain is tremendous, right? But it needs a direction. Okay? What to solve? It does not understand suffering. Right? We can be so judgmental and feel that the sense of righteousness or injustice and this person abandoned me and and I'm a victim all the time, right? It hangs on to right and wrong rather than whether we're suffering or not. We know we are, but that's not how, that's out of the realm of the left and right brain. He only cares that we are surviving and we are correct. The midbrain, the heart, is connected to our suffering. So when we embrace this entire system, we begin to love ourselves. Right? We don't see a dark side. We don't have anything to hide. Okay? Because everything is true. These triggers are true. How we feel are always true. Right? The only question is this still valid? Is this protection still valid? This is how I work with people with addiction, right? With tremendous abuse, trauma since a child, and in turn traumatize and abuse others as adults. Right? They will come in and say, John, do I have a chance? I said, you have a heart of gold. Let's get to work.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
You have tremendous experience.
Mhm.
Okay. So let me talk about my guiding principle. Okay. So this is kind of the functional model. So I have 4 guiding principles. Okay. Well, I want to go back to this a little bit. Okay. So the general sense is we need to heal what's broken. Were you here? No.
I think I can.
Okay. All right. To me, the key is for us to reveal what's golden. Okay. So let me talk about what's golden. Okay. So there are 4 guiding principles. Okay. The first one is there is unconditional love or loving kindness. The second is purpose. Third is heart of hope. And the fourth one is choice. So these are my guiding principles. So when I have a functional model and I have a guiding principle, I have a feedback system. Okay, so honestly, this is to resolve my, I cultivate myself. I resolve my own issues based on this model, based on these guiding principles. Okay. So let's say if I love my kids, right, and I do something and they say, get away from me, Dad. Okay, do not talk to me, right? Then I feel sad, or I feel angry. I feel, undeserving of this hostility. What does that mean to me? It means I don't love them unconditionally. It's really that simple. Okay. It took me 12 years to realize that. Okay. I had my own suffering because of that. Okay. It took me 12 years to realize one morning, oh, I've never loved anybody. Not my mom, not my dad, not my wife, not any of my 4 kids, not myself, anywhere near unconditional. Everything I do is conditional. Okay? I thought I was helping them. I thought I was supporting a family. I thought I was doing this and this to sort of be the hero, for my kids and and everything is conditional. So when things are not going the way I expect, right? All of a sudden, I'm like a candle in the wind. I get totally blown away. I was just like, boom, completely without the light. Right? So I went through a period of depression, hatred, which that really woke me up. When I feel like I hate, that actually kind of woke me up, right? But I also know, like, this is my family. I love my family, right? And I woke up one morning with this clarity that, I never loved anybody, ever. I actually wrote a letter to my kids to say, you know what? I never, ever love you guys. Unconditional, even close. But from this point on, that's what I'm going to do. Okay. And that actually kicked off a lot of things. Okay, it took me a year for 2 of my kids to come up, talk to me. And I remember it was like they come up to me like around 7 o'clock at night, and we didn't finish until 2 o'clock in the morning. And we're laughing and we're crying, and my kids would say, "Dad, we wasted so much time, like 2 years." I said, "No, nothing is wasted." Okay, we get to understand so much deeper how to connect to each other. And that to me is hope. Right? Is that sweet? So everything has a purpose. Okay? Cancer has a purpose, depression has a purpose, suicide thoughts has a purpose, addiction has a purpose, everything has a purpose. Okay? Everything. So that's my guiding principle. Everything has a purpose. Okay? So when we do that, we stop sympathizing. We're not going to say, "Oh, I feel so sorry you have this." There's a purpose for this person's journey. Everything that we ever experience has a purpose, right? There's something that we are here to learn. You know, yesterday I got a friend came to my clinic, and he's a massage therapist. So he has a girlfriend that has a very severe skin issue, and he was very worried and try to help and blah, blah. I said, man, your biggest issue is you are helping people, right? I said, because you're helping people and she's not getting well, you become anxious, okay? You lose your brightness. You're not happy anymore, right? You're so fixated on this single problem. You're not looking at the whole person anymore, and you're dragging both of you guys, down, right? And he started to start crying so hard. Okay. In my clinic, I don't charge money, but I charge tissues. Okay? So it's like, oh gosh, hope you have enough money. So everything has a purpose. For him to see his dedication and the sense of responsibility to help, right? Boom, you're actually hurting both people. To the point he want to, leave. Right. To the point he start to do cannabis again, to escape.
Right.
It doesn't know how to handle this anymore. Right. So for him, actually, I knew him for 12 years. We started out doing martial art. For the longest time, it's like, you're the greatest. Right? You have such a kind heart. Okay? If you can stop helping people, you'll be great. So our goal is to. Some people will shout at us, across the parking lot, say, you have no sympathy. And then we'll say, oh, really?
Thank you.
I did it. Really? Oh, got it working so. Yeah. Thank you so much. But anyway, so. Okay. Purpose. Okay. Everything has a purpose. Everything. Dying has its purpose. Okay? Everything. The very last breath. I was so inspired by a few people, okay, that really shaped my view of purpose. Okay? It started out with the uncle, one of my best friend's dad, actually, I call him uncle. From very young, he helps. Okay, he will gather the neighborhood kids and give them things or education, and he involved in community, floods or cool weather, earthquake. He's always there. When he was more capable, he actually went back to China, established like 3 or 4 schools. But when he had a stroke, he has to take pills and stuff like that. Boom, he just goes all the way down. And he knew I was learning Chinese medicine at that time. He's like, John, some points that you can needle and I would just die. I said, if you want to die, it takes a week. Okay? Just stop eating and drinking. But the key for him is he has no purpose anymore. Okay? We have a purpose. Everything has a purpose. I have a purpose. Everyone, right now, just go, I have a purpose. Okay? Never ever lose that sense that we have no purpose. Okay? I have a purpose. Okay? That's the very essence of thriving. I have a purpose. So he gave me such an impact. It's like, okay, this person, the entire life's sense of purpose is based on what he could do. When he couldn't do it anymore, he has no purpose. He just want to go away. He doesn't want to waste another thread of this society's assets. Just like, let me go. Okay, that makes no sense. The sense of purpose is let me tell you another story, which is to me was very, very interesting. Okay. Tell a story of a dog. Okay. So my friend called me. It's like she has this dog. The name is Noble. Noble has this, and they're gonna put him down like around noontime. So they called me around 11. I said, "Oh, I got, I was treating a patient. I got like 10, 20 minutes. So I rushed over there. So I see this. It's the first time I see this stainless steel table. It's huge. Okay. They got 4 people, the doctor and 3 helpers. They're gonna, Noble is a big dog. They got put Noble on that thing and then inject something. So Noble was on the corner, kind of painting there, right? So when I went over there and I sat down, right, I put my hand on his head, and I hand near his tail, and I didn't do anything but like this for I don't know how long. Okay, 3 minutes maybe, 5 minutes maybe. And I feel like, oh, he's ready. So then I called my friend and said, okay, do the same thing. Okay. Then I left. My friend later told me, Noble died when she was doing it. He never went on that table. Never got on that table. Okay. And what's even more interesting was the doctor, the vet, okay, said he would run a pet hospital, so it's always noisy, okay, birds and dogs and cats, and there's always noise, some noise. He said when Noble died, for a good 10 minutes, there was absolute silence.
Wow.
Absolute silence. So when a person or a being leaves this world in peace, in a sense of connection, it affects everyone around this person, everything around this person. Okay, and I hope, honestly, I hope we all die that way. Okay, I wish you a good death, because then, it affects everybody that cares about us. Because we die in peace. And we can continue to connect, okay? Because unconditional love has no space and time limitation. Okay? So purpose, okay? I have a purpose. Don't ever lose it. Okay? So to me, that's really the first thing we do in the clinic. It's like, do you have a purpose? Oh, when my cancer gets better, I will have a purpose. No, I have one right now. Okay. Are you alright? Is your arm okay?
No.
No?
It will be no, I'm joking.
Okay. You want to do something by yourself, right?
Well, I think it's all the bags I shared.
Okay. Alright. Maybe she has painting reptilian brains in there. Maybe. We'll find out. Okay. Alright, so heart of gold. Okay, everyone has a heart of gold. Okay. And people ask me, it's like, does Hitler has a heart of gold?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. He has a heart of gold. Okay. He has the most heinous, behaviors, but he has a heart of gold. Okay. So there's so many. It depends on which side you're on. Okay. There's a guy who's very, very highly empathetic. Okay. He was like, John, I feel so bad. I feel so sad and everything else. And I said, why? He said, oh, Russia is attacking Ukraine. What can I do? Right? What do I do? I say, okay, you can connect to loving kindness and connect to all the people in Ukraine. They say, oh yeah, okay. And all the people in Russia. Okay. When we take a side, we go into that judgment round. And honestly, if there's any conflict, both sides are suffering.
Yes.
Article, okay. It's so easy to say this is the evil side and that's and what's interesting was so when I was telling this guy, the Ukrainian and things, a lady next to another student in the Chinese medicine school, she actually burst out crying. And then she shared with us that her dad was in the ICU because somebody did something to her dad, and she was so worried about her dad and so angry and hateful towards that person. And when she heard that, she really, boom, she connected. Because you can't love and hate at the same time. Okay. The fourth one is actually to bring everything together. Choice. Okay. Choice involves tremendous amount of power. Okay. And the primary power behind choice is actually anger. Okay. Anger in the form of courage. We learn to give up our choice from day one in school. We learn to suppress our sense of, I have a choice from day one. Maybe not purposefully by the system, but that's how it is. Okay? This is not trying to blame someone. This to me is just pure observation. Okay? In kindergarten, the first day we're happy, right? We're given crayons and paper and we're drawing, and midway through, I'm not done yet, it's time to read.
Yeah, right.
What do I do? Right? I cry first. Right? No, you can't do that. Okay? Right? Then all of a sudden, we learn to meet expectations. Meeting expectation is to give up, to remove ourselves from making a choice. Okay. So essentially, all of us, for a good 12 years, if not more, right, install plenty of triggers to say, don't make a choice. Don't show your opinions. Okay. Observe first before you speak. Okay. Make sure your answers align with other people's answers. Okay. So choice is what's, to me, is what's really bring all these things together. The sense of choice is courage to say, no, I'm making a choice for myself. Because you know what? I'm gonna love myself. I'm gonna honor all my emotions. I'm gonna thrive. So we start with anger. Okay, so in my clinic we do this stupid thing. Okay, so people laying on the table, and the key really is for this person to say, "I honor my anger." Okay, a lot of people can't say that. When they say the word anger, they're like, I honor my anger. Okay. The exercise after outside the clinic is actually when you drive or when you're by yourself, when you're in a place that you're not scaring people, to really shout it out. I honor my anger. Okay? Sorry. If you can add some, explicit in there, that would be even more powerful. Anger is so important. Okay? Because it's the base of courage. And without anger, without courage, we cannot reestablish our boundary that's been compromised for years and decades, maybe even lifetimes. Okay? Anger is the base for boundary. Whether to maintain it, to expand it, we all need anger. Okay? Anger in terms of courage. Anger and angry is different. Angry is anger plus judgment. Anger is courage behind the thriving. Okay. It's very hard to describe this, but in Chinese idiom, there's for you guys all know Chinese, right? So this is 100. Okay, 100. This is flower, and this is blooming. Okay, imagine you walk out and you see 100 flowers in this bush. That they're all blooming like this. Okay, thriving. That's the word. They project the sense that, hey, you know what? This is my freaking time.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's like they blooming so with such energy and force and no excuse, no apology. I am blooming because this is my bound. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Because it's very hard to describe anger in Chinese, but this to me is the only thing I can find. And they don't feel like, okay, whether you like it, you admire it, or you think this is too noisy, my color is not quite right. Yeah, right? Can you relate that to us? To ourselves? Right? I'm comfortable being me. I am comfortable expressing how I feel truly inside. We need to learn from flowers. Right? We need more people like that in this world, right? Truthful, right? Instead of, what does the society want me to do? So hopefully with this framework and the guiding principle, we start to cultivate what's true within ourselves, okay? Rather than what's taught. Because if we just practice what we're taught and we don't feel comfortable, we get into lower chi stagnation. We're actually suppressing ourselves. We're not thriving. It's actually a very, very serious thing. So that's why, to me, a lot of practitioners are not healthy. Okay, they are honestly not healthy because everything they do, there's uncertainty, right? And the channels are not flowing right? They're not healthy. And I say this not in a sense of criticizing people, because to me, this Chinese medicine is tremendous, but we're not practicing at the core level. We're practicing at the protocol level, right? And it hurts us as practitioners, right? And in my opinion, it actually hurts the patients, and it hurts the entire population in China. Right? It hurts everybody. So I'm very grateful that you guys are here. Okay, to me, it's like I want to. This little diagram here, really, in my opinion, this maps to everybody. Okay? All color, all race, right? All gender, all ages, because this is a functional model. You can easily map. So to me, is map this into our own lives. Right? If we have a child that we worry, map to us. Okay. I explained this to a lady, and she was an addict, and she came to my clinic, right? We went through this, right? She changed, she transformed, right? Her daughter is an addict, okay? And then when she was going to a bakery school, she wanted to be a chef, okay? And her daughter actually disappeared. Okay, and she knew where her daughter was, like in conception. She doesn't know where her daughter physically is, but she knew her daughter is falling off the wagon. Right. And she later wrote me, and she said, you know what? When I was going into that sense of righteousness and try to control and try to just find her and then really put her into her place and all this, I thought about what you said, and I connect through loving kindness to my daughter's heart. Okay? And 7 days later, because when people fall off the wagon, it's a binge. Okay? They don't just fall off a wagon for 8 hours. Okay? Her daughter came back. Okay? For the first time, she said, for the first time in her life, in her daughter's life, when her daughter showed up, she was open arms. She was ready to love her daughter. Because she's been connecting to her daughter's heart of hope, not her behaviors. Can you see the impact of this? For a person that came home kind of sheepishly and knowing like, when a person is unconditionally, right, connect to another person's heart of gold, there's so much power. So much power. So that's been my cultivation. Okay, anybody that sees me, I honestly have people who have addiction and they continue to fall. So I don't know where to live, and okay, you can tell me 10,000 times. I'm just gonna tell you, you have a freaking heart of gold. Okay, you just haven't revealed it yet. Okay, you can lose faith in yourself, but I am not going. So. And it starts from ourselves, or each and every one of us. Right? If we don't lose faith, right? If we connect ourselves in this manner, right? One day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, right? Then honestly we become walking lighthouses. Okay? Actually, from day one we are a walking lighthouse. Okay, but we may feel like right, but we continue to be. Okay? So there is a side effect when people start to do this. Okay? Let's say we've been having these triggers and we have these perspective, life is not safe, right? And we have these triggers, right? We need to meet the expectation, for example. And all of a sudden, we start to honor our anger, we start to thrive, we start to connect to people's heart of gold, right? Because there are no evil people, no evil person in this world, right? All these will have a cow. Okay? It's like, what are you doing? Didn't we agree? This is the same thing as my, the guy that took CBD was able to sleep really well and has panic attacks. It's the same thing. Okay? So all of a sudden, because we change at this level, we change at the conscious level. We say we're going to take a different route, right? Instead of this fear-driven, nobody is. We cannot trust anybody, which we don't even know what that means. Like internally, that's what the trigger is saying. We cannot trust anything, anybody, ever. Right? So all of a sudden, when we change this trigger is being, triggered and it's being fired at code 5 or code whatever, code red, I guess. Right? It's tremendously heightened. Okay? So we'll be anxious. We're gonna not feel right. Okay, we may feel our heartbeat. Okay, a lot of random thoughts start to pop in, right? Trying to say, hey, don't do that. Okay, you're not safe doing that. Right. So when we feel that, right, again, go back to this emotion and say, oh wow, I feel super anxious. Okay, and these triggers, these protective triggers, are fighting so hard to protect me. But honestly, I thank you, I honor you, I'm so grateful of all your protection that I don't need it anymore. And that's it. Okay? Then we can do that with an inner smile. To me, then we truly begin a journey of self-love. To me, that is self-love. People say, oh, we gotta love ourselves because before we can love others, truly love ourselves. Do not divide us into good and bad, left and right. Too many people say, my right side is always my wrong, not the right side. My right side is my problem side. And then we shouldn't treat your right side, right? If you have that mentality, if you have that belief, your right side will never get better. Because your thought determines your channel. Okay, any questions? Comments?
It's a lot.
Well, load of stuff, right?
Yeah.
This is my 8 years of work. But honestly, to implement this is very simple. I have a purpose. Okay? I am a lighthouse. Right? Every time we wash our hands, look into our eyes. I love myself. I honestly have quite a few patients. It's especially cancer patients, when they look into their look in the mirror, look into their eyes, and say, I love myself, they cry. I mean, they just burst out crying.
First, Louis Hay had that as an exercise, and the first time I did it, I cried. And I mean, I was an adult, and when I tell that to people, they're stunned.
Yeah.
It's like,
No, absolutely.
I cried.
Yeah, we don't look into ourselves. We don't, we look at ourselves and see if we're going to see what's wrong with you.
Right.
Check out that score and see who's savvy over there.
Monarch, the Monarch one?
Oh, is it yoga place?
Oh, that's where, this one?
No, the savvy.
Oh, it's a hairstyle.
Oh, hairstyle. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, I don't have a huge need for that. I like the need. Okay, so that's the framework, right? So then what we do in the clinic, we actually do this. So we explain the functional model, right? So we have a way to say, okay, that's my emotion, right? How is it generated? Is it possible to resolve it, right? To change it, to transform it, right? So then we work on 3 levels. Right? We work on the physical level. We absolutely work on the emotional level. Okay. Then we do it on the perspective level as well.
Physical, emotional, what was the third one?
Perspective.
Perspective.
So perspective is really like, where are we going? Where do we want to go? Right. So I really encourage everybody to have their own framework. Okay. It doesn't have to be the same as mine, but even if it's identical as mine, it's going to be yours. Okay. Because you're going to do it, you're going to experience it, you're going to reflect on it, right? So it becomes yours. So absolutely say, this is my framework. And the guiding principle. So the guiding principle give us a feedback loop, right? So when something is not working as well as we expect, for example, I still cannot get over my sense of injustice, right? I always just go back to the guiding principle. I still see that person as evil, or something like that. Or I still feel that person hurt me. I'm broken because of that person. Right? Then it doesn't, I don't have a heart of gold. Right? So this takes time, but because it's a self-love journey, it's actually very pleasant. This feedback loop is a very pleasant loop. It's not like I'm critical of myself, but because every time I go through this, I literally feel I get closer to myself.
Yeah, right.
Because I'm not being critical. I actually have I wrote something, and I don't remember what I wrote, but the concept is, we, in general, are the cruelest person to ourselves. Yeah. When everybody's saying, you can do it, we have such confidence that there's no way we can do this. Okay. So how do I put this into the clinic work? Okay. So in the clinic, so I'm going to transition my entire clinic to a 4-week program. Okay. So for example, Wednesday morning from 9 to 12, I will have a 4-week program for a total of 4 weeks. Okay. Call this MCA or transformation, essentially. So, and they will have categories of, let's say, addiction, cancer, PTSD, depression, anxiety, or family issues, parent-child, things. So, so then I have a chance, rather than people come in and we do one-on-one treatment, Because when people come in, they will say, I have this trouble, or I have knee pain, or I have this and this, right? And all their focus is on that one specific issue, right? or condition, right? Then it's more difficult to explain this, right? So I've been running my clinic more in terms of this model for 4 weeks. My cancer support group, they are 4-week programs. Okay, just 4, 2-hour, 3-hour per week program. So the goal is for people who resonate with this to actually do this, right? For example, if I could stay 4 weeks, right? Next time we're gonna meet, and within this week, all we're gonna do is I have a purpose. I honor my aim. Okay, I'm gonna do what's most empowering, and I'm not gonna do what's right. Okay. Too many people are doing what's right and cause a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Okay, if I'm a mom, I'm a dad, I'm a boss, I'm this and this, right? I have this label. I have to live up to my label. So I continue to do what this label implies as the right thing. Okay. So yell at my kids, or scold my kids, or educate my kids, and there's absolutely no effect, or the opposite effect. But I continue to do it because it's the right thing to do. See, that's not the most empowering thing, right?
Yeah.
So that little shift, okay, changes a lot of things, right? I'm gonna do what's most empowering at the time, instead of what's right in my mind. See, now we involve the other person, right? When we connect differently, I like to use the word misfit, okay? Like the school system, the entire society, essentially we have, everything is about a bell curve, right? If you're within the bell curve, you fit the system. If you're outside of the bell curve, you don't fit the system, right? It's always the people who don't fit can change the system. It's the misfit that can change the world. So embrace, kids who don't comply. Okay, right? Embrace people who have an opinion. So in the clinic, so essentially the key is, this is how I do this, right? So when we connect differently, things start to shift. Okay? Protocol I can't do protocol, right? Because I look at things very, very differently. So in this thing, right? So I show essentially that's the MCA 2024, right? I think I go over the guiding principle. There's going to be channels and cultivation. Okay, cultivation is kind of what we talk about, right? So the system is only useful when we cultivate. Okay, and I call them timeless cultivation. Why? First of all, we should not take any time to do it. Okay, timeless cultivation has 2 meanings. Okay, one is it doesn't take any more time, so it's timeless. There's no time involved. Okay, I don't want people to say, "Oh, John, this is really good. Okay, let me take time to practice this." I said, please do not take time to practice. You are doing everything, your daily life. If you apply this, that's what we want. We don't want any extra time to practice any of this. Okay? Connect to loving kindness, connect to another person. Do this right now. That person is right in front of you. Okay? And then when we do that, right, we immerse ourselves in this feedback loop continuously. Big thing or small things. That's the key. Right? And because of that, it goes from our conscious level, like, oh, this is what I'm gonna do, to our subconscious level. It's like driving a car, right? In the beginning, it's like, oh, this is the steering wheel. When I want to go there, I need to do this, right? And if then I don't press gas, because it goes, right? Oh, I need to press gas. Oh, that's too much. Then I need to hit the brake, right? In the beginning, it'll be very, very mechanical. But if we continue to do it, continue to drive, right? This gets into our subconscious. Then we flow. Then it becomes a natural state of what we do. Okay. So I remember when I first did this, I actually set up like reminders. Okay, like every door I pass. Okay. Like I enter a door, I exit the door, I will actually go. I connect to loving kindness.
Oh, all right.
Okay. And when I get out, I connect to loving kindness. Okay. So I will set up these cues, I guess. Okay. And when I drive and I see clear sky or clouds, I will connect. Right. And I would just do that. And people that I have issue or I worry about my kids, then they haven't contacted me for month and month, something like that. I would just continue to connect. I want to be ready. I don't want to be worried. Because when I worry and I see them, it's like, where have you been? And guess what? They want to meet me right there. Okay. All right. So timeless cultivation, okay? Because we don't take any more time, and basically just integrate that into everything we do every day. Okay? You see a lot of people every day, right? We all sit, we all stand every day, right? Integrate that, right? And when we do that, we truly use our mindfulness. And to me, mindfulness actually is very, very interesting. Okay, so let me draw a diagram of what I see as epiphany. So epiphany is we are at a certain level, and we clearly see that we are at a different level. Okay? Let's say I'm suffering here, right? Feel like my heart is broken, right? Or something like that, right? But I clearly see I have a heart of gold, for example. And because we're using seeing, there's no, to me that's epiphany. Okay? Epiphany in my clinic is actually very common. It's like, oh yeah, absolutely, I can absolutely do that. But when they start, they fall. Because we still need to get there. Okay? And to get there, we need to harmonize our entire system, our conscious, subconscious, right? That includes our knowledge, our view of the world, perspective, our emotion, which in terms of trigger, all the protection that needs to be aligned, transformed, the things that are out of date, the severity needs to go down, right? It's a transformation, okay? So we're going to go through that. Okay, our system is going to say, what are you doing? Okay, we need a time to harmonize again, to reach a good state again, right? So to me, that's going through mindfulness. Okay, being mindful that all these ups and downs are actually aligned with where we're going. And when we reach another state, like it's like we're driving, without thinking, right? And then, to me that's how we cultivate. To me, that's what I mean by cultivation. So there's a whole list of cultivation on the slide. We couldn't mention most of them. I'm going to go through this, okay, just for completeness sake. So loving kindness connection, I have a purpose. Okay. So the loving kindness connection, okay, everyone has two building ones, okay, that are critical for everyone of us, and that is our parents. Okay, we all have parents. Okay, we may not know who our parents are, but we all have parents. And we all want to have this unconditional love connection with our parents. Everyone want to be loved unconditionally. And when we don't get it, we change our perspective. And we start to try to protect ourselves. Okay? So part of this practice is to say, okay, through loving kindness, connect to loving. Oh, I have a purpose. Right? I connect to loving kindness, and through loving kindness, connect to my mom's heart goal, my dad's heart goal. Okay? And to say, you know what, mom, you know what, dad, from this point on, I choose to love you unconditionally, no matter what happens. I have people who have horrendous experience with their parents. Okay, when I say do this, they will actually look at me and say, "You're kidding me, right? Why do I want to do this for these animals?" So you're not doing this for them. You're doing this for yourself. Because when we do that, we free ourselves from the behavior and words of our parents. Okay? We truly free ourselves. And because of that, our parents are free as well. Our parents have their triggers as well. Okay? A lot of things they do, they have no control either. So it's very interesting when we see we have triggers, right? We start to have very, very different view of everybody around us. So to me, why this sense of compassion comes from is we start to love ourselves. There's no dark side within ourselves, right? We see our triggers as the most loyal protectors. And I think under these protectors, creating chaos around, myself, around my family, around everywhere, right? Then we start to see, other people are doing the same thing. They have triggers too, right? So to me, there is a natural sense of compassion to everything. Very, very natural, because we begin to, we love ourselves. Then we start to see everybody is doing the same thing. Okay. So to me, this is my medicine. Okay. You can name it however you want. Okay. This is not the domain of any medicine, but to me, this is the domain of just a sense of self-cultivation. Right? And if we have the need, okay, to serve, what we do, right? Then we use this, right? Then it's extremely rewarding. Otherwise, we just feel like, people come, people go, and they're not transformed. Right? So to me, I am in a position to. So anybody who has suffering come in, I smile. I try to not smile outside, okay, but sometimes I can't help myself. I say, "Really, you have cancer?" Because that's the point. That's a pivot point. They reach a pivot point where they have to transform, right? Or their family is broken, right? Or something that's really, truly, meaningful or valuable to them, they're gonna lose it. That's the point. That they reach a point, a point where they have to transform, right? I'm actually really happy for that. Internally, that's how I see it, right? Then I don't need to sympathize, right? People want to kill themselves, they come and see me, right? I say, that's one of the choices. To me, it's really that simple, right? But there's something you really care, but you have no solution for it. I actually have it. At that time, he was 15. His mom brought him in from Colorado to see me in California. Some of and the first thing is I want to kill myself. So that's one of the options. Okay. But since you're here, can we just do something else? Right? And I found out that he likes martial art. We were playing martial art for like the next 2 days, right? And then we find out like the reason why he wanted to kill himself was actually his mom and his dad was going through this nasty divorce, okay, years ago probably, right? So a child being put into a position where he has to choose, okay, they end up not choosing anything. And when a person loses the connection to the parents, they lose a sense of purpose. They lose a sense of self. Okay? The people who are supposed to love me are not loving me. Okay? And you end up resenting the parents. When we resent our parents, we resent ourselves. It's really that simple. So we actually threw that because we're playing, right? So to me, it's like he can continue to be in that suffering, or he can choose to, change that suffering. It's his choice, right? So I actually talked to him and I said, well, you know what? If you really want to make a choice, right, connect through loving kindness to your dad's heart of gold. From this point on, you love your dad regardless how conditionally he loved you. Love your dad unconditionally, because you have a choice. He actually did, because his dad was his hero. So it's very, very interesting. Okay, so he's still alive now, so that's good. Okay. So I actually use this model. I'm not gonna tell a 15-year-old child or kid, right, who want to kill himself, like, oh, you shouldn't. You have such a bright future in front of you. That's not. I'm just saying the right words. I'm not doing anything empowering as far as that person is concerned. Right? I'm not saying what I did should be copied. I'm just saying that's how I feel genuinely inside of me. That's the way to approach these things. I'm not going to see him as a victim either, because he sees himself as a victim, has parents like this. So what? You still have a choice. You can still thrive. It is still within your choice, right? And for some reason, certain people will actually do it. So sometimes this thing works. If it doesn't work, I'm actually at peace. Okay?
Yeah, right.
Because it's their journey. Nobody can help another person. If anybody can help another person, honestly, it's already done. Okay? Jesus would want to help everybody. Buddha would want to help everybody. But it just cannot be done. Because it's everybody's journey. And we all have a heart of gold for us to reveal. And one of the best way to reveal it is through suffering. Okay? Through hitting the wall over and over and over and over again. And I think the world in general has reached a pretty good point, right?
Yeah.
Where suffering is everywhere, right? And really intense, right? So I see this as it's a good time.
Yeah, right.
Everybody's suffering now. We're so close to this revelation of our heart of gold. Because everybody's trying to fix a broken heart. Right? To me, that is the real issue, because we're trying to fix what's not broken. It's like the guy with this phobia, right? It's trying to put a band-aid. Right? Instead of going back and say, it was you wrapped up in a blanket. So you have these triggers, and truly resolve them all, right? Put band-aids around it. He's still anxious. He's still nervous. Right? He still doesn't feel safe. But he has a way to conquer. See, why do we want to conquer our triggers? or eliminate or mask, control.
Yeah.
No, we embrace them because they've been protecting us. Isn't that sweet?
Yeah, right.
Right? Then we truly love ourselves, right? We don't see ourselves having this, thing that's gonna hurt us, right? Isn't that, to me, that's the real issue with suffering. That's the real issue with trauma, is trauma install these triggers to protect ourselves over and over and over again, and it actually drag us down to the point we're not using our true power. You use this in the clinic?
I mean, I feel like maybe there are certain things I do that translates to this sometimes. Like that, I had a patient the other day that was very upset because of like something that happened like with her dad or whatever, and she started crying but tried to hold back, the tears and like just holding the space, I guess, for them in that time, because still, since I'm in school, it's like, gotta do the protocol. But, there was a change, I think, in like allowing her to have the space to do that, because she was trying to press it down so much. So, definitely see how it can be powerful, like in that sense.
So, a lot of things I know for 2 years before I was able to do in the clinic. Because my cultivation hasn't reached a level where it's harmonious within me. I know how to do it, but I can't do it. And I know it. Right? So I wasn't doing it. It took me literally 2 years before I can do the things I've been doing. And to me, that's okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay? That's absolutely fine because I'm very truthful. I'm not going to do something like, oh, I heard this thing work. Okay? I'm not convincing anybody. Right? I can say what I say right today is because this is my truth. Okay? Because I actually work on it. Right? So my suggestion really is to say, if this resonates with you, right, cultivate it. And it's okay that we're not there yet because we are going that direction. Right? The key is, are we going that direction?
Yeah, right.
Right? If we go that direction, we are guaranteed to get there. Okay? No matter how slow. Right? So that to me is the key. And we don't want to jump so far forward and say, oh, I'm just doing this because I learned or I heard this guy and he said it worked. It's the same thing as another protocol. Right? So it has to be coming from ourselves. Right? So one of the key is to say, okay, how do we gain these first-hand experience? Right? Honestly, through ourselves. Okay? If we put our hand here, okay, next to our 4th and 5th rib, and it's painful, okay, congratulations, you have liver qi stagnation. Okay? We put our hand here, okay, it is equally painful. Wonderful. Okay? If we put our hand here, next to the rib, okay, on the right side, okay, it's kind of tender and painful, right? Congratulations, we have righteousness. Okay? All these have been affecting our channels. Okay? It's truly going through these to say, wow, I do. And we have dampness, right? Because when we have liver qi stagnation, we're guaranteed to have dampness. And that gets into even more issues. Okay? The elimination issues, circulation, you name it. Okay? It's just, so our body, our physical, our current state is the only person we can resolve is ourselves. So we've got to apply this to ourselves. And when we do that, it becomes second nature. Because everyone is the same. The functional model, everybody is the same. We all have the same channels. okay? Same set of emotions. When we are righteous, the channel gets stuck here, okay? The overflow, again, it's a river. When we're righteous, we cannot be kind,
Yeah.
okay? The spring channel comes up, feed our heart channel. Okay, it has to get stopped right here because when our heart is nourished, when our heart channel is energized, we are kind. Is that cool?
Yeah.
So people who are righteous have liver issue, have gallbladder issue, and gallbladder is removed or something like that, right? Because they have to be right. So in my clinic, I have a little thing, okay, and I actually share this with my patients all the time. When you are right, be kind, okay?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not righteous, be kind. Okay? You can be right. And they say, but I'm always right. I said, but you don't need to be righteous. Because when you're righteous, you're hurting nobody else but yourself. Right? You know, we can, war are always, when there's war, there are always two righteous sides.
Yes,
Otherwise,
right.
there is no war. You can say, you know what, I'm wrong, but I'm going to attack you. So use it actively on body. Okay? So I'll be here for a few more days, right? And we can have sessions. And to me, my sessions are very, very simple. I identify pain. And to me, pains are very empowering. Okay? If we know, oh my gosh, I didn't know I had pain here. Okay? It's the same thing as every time, like we hear people knocking and we go on, nobody. Right? And then knocking, nobody. We don't know where the pain is. Then we are very anxious. Okay? Then the body protects, right? Shoulder comes in, we're doing this, right? And it's even more painful. And the neck pains, back pain, shoulder pain, you name it, right? The whole body goes there. Right? The real pain is here. Okay? This is honestly 99% of all the patients, probably 100% of all the practitioners, okay? Right here. Okay. This is the true liver chi stagnation. And this comes from our sense of triggers, comparison, judgment, injustice, the whole nine yards. So the real issue is actually how we see the world, how we see ourselves. Okay? If we continue to try to protect us, this is suppressed. Because we're doubtful of everything else. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good?
Yes, wonderful. I'm like so inspired. But my head is like,
My head's spinning, yeah.
yeah, it's just like full of stuff I had just done.
So have the sense. Okay, let's do this one more time. Okay, I have a purpose.
I have
Yeah, the purpose.
I am a lighthouse.
I am a lighthouse.
Yeah, the light.
Okay, I connect to loving kindness
I
through
connect to
right.
To loving kindness.
Okay, this is in town. This is the third eye. Connect to loving kindness through this. Okay. Connect to our parents' heart of gold.
Okay.
See, now we're completely different. And walk around just like this. This thing is hard in terms of there's a lot of information, but disregard all these information. We don't need these information. Okay? Little kids know how to do this. Okay? People's been doing this without this information. This is just information. If you resonate with this, the only thing you gotta do is I have a purpose. And I exercise my choice. I connect to people's heart of gold and I love them unconditionally. That's it. Honestly, you don't need any of this. You don't need to know the channels. You don't need to know anything. Okay, just do these stupid things. That's it. And your life will be thriving. You'll be a lighthouse. Without, this is true wisdom. True wisdom is not like, oh, John, you can talk for hours. No, that's not wisdom, right? True wisdom is you carry yourself in a way that you inspire people. And what you do is most empowering at the time. That's why, you know, professors or PhDs may not be the wise people because they know what's right. What wisdom is what's most empowering at the moment. That is wisdom. So a 3-year-old can show us wisdom. A dog can show us wisdom.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with intelligence, knowledge, or anything like that. So all this is just knowledge. Okay? We can completely disregard it if we are practicing. So honestly, this is the real goal. Is once this is done, it's done. Okay? There's no need to retain this because we already. If this resonates with you, it means we already have it. That's the only reason it resonates.
Yeah.
Okay? Because otherwise, this is just information, which is boring. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. And if this resonates with you, you already transformed.
Yes.
See, everybody's sitting differently now. Yeah. Because when we connect to loving kindness, we naturally align ourselves. Because the channels are running. Because channels are symmetrical. Okay, we have 2 channels that run front and back, so this kind of pulls us up. You naturally want to straighten your spine. You can't help it. You can't say, I have a purpose. Oh, it doesn't work. Okay? Right? You naturally do this. You connect to loving kindness and you love your parents. All of a sudden you can't even do this now. Right? Because the channels are like, what are you doing? That's not comfortable. So the actual practice is simple, instantaneously. We may have the most complex issues in our heart, in our head. And we think we need very, very complex solution. The solution has to be simple.
Yeah.
We have to go back to being a kid. Okay? A child. Nobody takes a child and say, okay, let's take our child to learning how to walk to school. Because it doesn't, the child never compares himself or herself against anybody. It's not as if, oh my God, all these people can walk, stand, and run and everything. Oh, I can't. See? If a little baby have what we have right now, nobody walks on earth. Okay?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right? The only reason why, before the age of 2, honestly, it is very, very interesting how this thing works. Before the age of 2, there's no comparison. Okay? Comparison is a learned thing, right? Afterwards, right? Before that, they don't compare. That's why they can, open their eyes, raise their head, like compared to the body, it's so huge, right? And how can you possibly have the strength to move this thing, right? To get up and then squat and stand and then turn and roll. It's all because they were doing what's most empowering at that time. They're not comparing. They say, oh God, my sister and brothers, they're so good at this. I'm not. Every time I try, I fall. Every time I try, I fall. Right? See, we need to go back to that state where, it's just about striving.
Yeah, right.
Right? We're not comparing. Isn't that interesting? Right? I really like that analogy. It's like if the babies are like us, nobody walks all the way. No way I can do that.
So you will be doing, and you will be seeing people individually tomorrow and Saturday?
So, I like to do this in the group, okay? And the reason is this, okay? I'll be here just for a few days, right? I don't want to treat a person because there's no way this will be done in 3 days, okay? But what I really, really want to do is to empower. Hopefully, with this, you feel empowered. Okay?
Yeah.
And we have very, very simple things to do. And if you do it, you'll be very, very different.
So you will have like kind of group classes tomorrow and Saturday?
Yeah, so I'll be sticking around. So I'll probably be fine. Yoga mats, I'll just sleep here. This is wonderful. But I'll be happy to have anything. I'll do anything.
Because, I just had a like I have a sister who's not well, and she doesn't have need an individual class, but I think that what you're conveying is very important and would be very helpful to her.
So the key for you, okay, is you connect to your sister's heart. Right? Whether she needs help or not, whether this is helpful to her or not, the key is for you to be a lighthouse.
Okay.
So many people say, oh, my mom is this, my sister is this, my child is this, and da da. What do? I say, you be a lighthouse. You be a lighthouse.
Okay.
Right? Because otherwise, if we're a candle in the wind and we try to care for somebody else, both are gonna, both are a candle in the wind.
Yeah,
Right? So you be a lighthouse. Truly use this opportunity. When we are a lighthouse and we're not being affected by other people's up and downs, we're not a candle in the wind. And why? Because we connect to that person's heart, not their suffering. Right? So when we are a lighthouse, other people have, to me, I want to be ready. I want to be ready for anybody, right? My kids, it's not like I want to help them, but I want to be ready when they knock on my door. When they ask, say, Dad, can you I have this problem, what do you think? Right? I want to have something that's empowering to say. I want them to feel like, okay, this is somebody I can, even ask a question. Right? And that to me is, honestly, that's my goal, is I want to be ready. I want to be ready as a lighthouse because I love myself. Right? Too many times we try to find somebody who can help. Right? That thought to me is actually impeding our progress right away. So if your sister is willing to come and if you can tell her like, oh, there's a guy here, he doesn't help people. You want to go see him? Maybe that will make a difference. Instead of saying, oh, there's a guy, I think he can help you. Nah. I went to too many helpful people. People don't need to be helped. People need to thrive. If I have one more breath, I want to breathe in, connecting to loving kindness, and connect to the people I love. When I exhale, I want to do the same thing. Then my life, in my opinion, this is a great life. Right? So it's not about suffering, it's about how we live. So if we can do that, right, we become a lighthouse, sharing our experience. We'll be ready to share our experience. If people take it, great. If they don't, just as great. Because it's their journey, even though they are so close to us. They're so close to us, my mom, my dad, my kids, my wife. They're the most important people in my life, and they're still suffering. Should I be suffering? Hell no.
Right, that's true.
See, and that's a dramatic shift. It's like we're in a funeral, and we're not crying. We're actually happy that I know this person. We spend some time together. Every life is a celebration, right? It's a very dramatic shift, right? But and it will cause our internal trigger to say, "Oh, now you don't behave like everybody else. People think you're a lunatic, right?" Be a lunatic lighthouse. If that's what it takes. Yeah. That's how I see it. Yeah. Because I want to thrive. I want everybody to thrive. Right? And there's no way we can help another person to thrive. The only thing we can do is to say, I am thriving. If you're interested to know how I thrive, I'll be more than happy to share with you. And it's just shared. If it's done or not, it's still in another person's hand. It's never in our hands.
It's their choice.
We try so hard to help people, and sometimes we're This is what we do in the clinic, right? We will be affected. We become wounded healers. We're sharing other people's suffering. That makes no sense. Share other people's ice cream, but it's not suffering. So I'll be happy to see anybody, right? Not in the capacity to say I'm going to help someone.
All right.
Interesting, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, to me, that actually returns the power to the other. That's I honestly affirm that. Some people get offended by that. They say, paying you for the session. You don't need to pay me. You can leave right now. Because I cannot do what's not truthful to me. When I think I'm just doing it for a session or for getting your money, I can't do it. And I'm not going to do it. But this attitude has its drawback, but I'll take it.
But it has a big opportunity as well.
Yeah. Because to me, that's why I'm very grateful you're sitting here. Right?
Grateful to have you
Yeah,
here.
I'm honestly really grateful for people who are willing to listen. Right? Because to me, one person's change is dramatic. It's like, Noble passed away. Right? To me, it's very, very dramatic. It actually changed a lot. Okay? It's such a powerful feeling. When a person doesn't suffer anymore, it's very, very dramatic. Very, very dramatic.
Yeah. I experienced that when my father died. And, we were all at the hospital. My mother, my brother, and myself were at the hospital, and nobody really knew what was going to happen. But my mother and brother left, and then he started to really die. And at first I was all anxious and talking to the nurses and doctors and trying
Come, yeah.
and they were like, go to your father, he's dying. And so then we just went in and I just sat with him. And I don't know whether it was unconditional love, but I just tried to open myself to him. And he died so peacefully. And I was like, oh my God. I didn't even know that that's something that is a good thing, but to die peacefully.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It was like, I was moved to tears. It was really quite beautiful.
And because of that, your dad is still with you. It doesn't become a block. So many people get, blocked out of their loved ones because they died. It's as if before the death, nothing happened because they're so fixated on the event. It was traumatic, right? It was to be avoided. Right? But when it's peaceful, isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, it was really quite
It's a cherished life with a person that's so, means so much to you.
Yeah.
Right? And to me, this is how I feel I do. I carry my dad everywhere. My dad is with me all the time. Right? So he's passing. He actually died in my arm. Okay? And I put him down, and he looked so great there. And I said, Dad, you're not going to be cold anymore. But to me, it's like I said, anybody we know died at some point. Right? How we connect is the key. Okay? Death cannot break us. My sister passed away 2 years ago. My brother-in-law is still having trouble living. Right? It's just like you have, the perfect love, I guess, but you cannot be separated. See, that's conditional love. Isn't that's interesting, right? So now we cannot love because separation will be so hard. Right? And what if my sister or my brother died, my brother-in-law died first, you know,
She was
my
going
sister
through this.
should my sister be the same?
Yeah.
And couldn't live?
Right.
Makes no sense. So a lot of it to me is not everybody can accept that, right? But to me it's let's be lighthouses. So, okay, so how do we do that? Okay, so let's do something physical.
Yeah.
So ideally we have no shoes because most of the shoes are not good. Okay, very poor shoes. Okay, why? Because they have such a good arch support and heel support. Okay, they weaken our feet. So anytime we have shoes that have very good heel support, we're leaning forward. Okay, it puts so much pressure on our knees. Okay, those shoes are very good when you run very, very hard, but they're not good as everyday living shoes because you're gonna lean forward all the time. That weakens the knee, especially the beautiful arch support. Right? When we have good arch support, the purpose for that arch support is to disable our arch. Okay? So every step we take, our arch is supposed to be flattened. Okay, that's our natural shock absorbing system. Okay? When that shock absorbing system works, our ankle works. Okay? And when our ankle works, our knee works. When this doesn't work, our ankle doesn't work, all the pressure from the ground travels to the knee. Our knee joint is actually very, very strong. So when the knee joints start to cause problems, it's actually fairly advanced. When I was 50 years old, I couldn't go up and down stairs. Okay? Because I had a motorcycle accident when I was 17. My neck is still not fully okay. I had an injury on my hip, my sacrum area. I have an injury on my left hand. Okay? Pretty much all from a motorcycle accident. But anyway, these are my blessings because now I know, like, I literally worked through them. Okay? Today I'm in trouble going up there. So I know it's resolvable, it's reversible. Okay? So the first thing we do is to stand. Okay? Feel like widen all the toes if you want. Okay? Really feel, especially our big toe or the base of our big toe and the base of our little toe. Okay? Feel the weights are evenly distributed. Okay? Gaze at something that's level to our eyes. And just, shift right, shift left a little bit. Okay? Make sure that where is the middle. Okay? Most of us, when we stand, we actually shift it to one side. Okay? One side's heavier, one side's lighter. Okay? So whichever side that's heavier tend to be the side that we lean. When we stand, we tend to lean one side. Okay? That side is. So when the person is actually laying on the table, face up, okay, you can see like, oh, these two legs are not even, right? One shorter than the other, normally by half an inch. Okay, why? Because one side's tighter. It's not because I was born this way. Nah, I don't think so. Okay, so you adjust a little bit, you hold a little bit, and there you going back to your birth. But anyway, so the first key is left and right, make them even. Okay, and then front and back needs to be even as well. But before that, what we need to do is let's tighten our knees first. Okay, really tighten our knee joint. Okay, that's the wrong way to do it. Okay, why? Because when we tighten our knee joint, our back is tight. Okay, so soften our knee by doing what? Okay, by tilting the pelvis back a little. Okay, or you squeeze your butt. It's basically the same thing. Then the knees are unlocked. Beautiful. Okay, unlock is not sitting down. No. Okay, it's just unlock. It's not locking. So from locking, this is my locking. When I lock, I cannot. My ankle joint doesn't work. Okay. So when I from lock to unlock, it's just that. Okay. So the next thing is we build this bucket. Okay. Okay. So at the bottom of the bucket, there's a point we call perineum in Chinese medicine. That's room 1. Okay. That's actually, in my opinion, the point that's so private. Right? A lot of people have trouble with that. Okay. Dissociation from the body often starts from that point. Okay. Especially if there's anything sexual happen. Okay. People don't want to do that. Okay. People with birth. Okay. If there's any tear in that part. Okay. There's any cuts or whatever fixing. Huge dissociation. Okay. It causes a lot of problem actually. Okay. So what I would suggest is we elevate that point ever so slightly. Okay. Not like Kegel where we go, we can pull it up. It's just like, okay, I'm mindful of my room 1, my perineum point. I elevate it ever so slightly. Okay. If you elevate that point ever so slightly and your eyes are level, these 2 channels, you will feel your body just naturally upright. And you may feel tingling right around here or somewhere in the path of your midbrain. Okay. So during the day, what we learn in Chinese medicine, the Du channel is not correct. Okay. During the day, the Du channel that basically goes from the perineum through the back, in between the spine and our skin, enters here, okay, energize our entire midbrain and come out of here, and flows down into the mouth. Okay, it does not go through the top of the head during the day when we're awake. It makes no sense. Why would you have energy here? The energy needs to go into your midbrain, energize the midbrain. And when it comes out here, you just feel like, oh my gosh, I am connected. I am not lonely. I may be alone, but I'm never lonely in this world. Because we have a sense of connection. So this is what we learn in Chinese medicine school. The first semester is a person is in between heaven and earth. This is how we connect to heaven. Okay? We connect to the universe. Okay? Can you imagine we walk around like this? This is what Khadija was doing. Okay? You can see her eyes. Her eyes are just sparkling. When she's connected, her eyes are sparkling. When she's not, she's not. Okay? Very obvious. Okay? This is how I bumped into her maybe 3-4 years ago in San Jose. So. But anyway, so that's the way to do our bucket. Okay, so the bucket is the bottom point elevated ever so slightly. Okay, pelvic tilted a little bit so our knees are not locked. Okay, and when we do this, okay, so then the bucket is formed. Okay, so room 1, the perineum, is the bottom of the bucket. There's a little bit of tension, not a lot, just a mindful tension, very little. Okay, then we have our pelvis. And because we're doing this and our eyes are level, the pressure you will feel, okay, is everywhere is the same. This is a bucket. If we lock our knees and our head is like this, the back is tight. There's nothing here. Okay? That's why we grow this thing. Okay? If we have a good bucket, this naturally just change. Okay? So I often joke, it's like most people are, I don't know why, most people who are interested in this are women. They say, if you want to change the shape of your body, this is the quickest way to do it. Okay? Right? It's not losing this, but you tighten this and you're engaging your ab muscles. And when you walk around like this is going to change dramatically. And when you stand like this in front of a patient trusts you for some bizarre reason, right? Because you project a different kind of energy. You're not going there saying, what's that? It's completely different. You go in there connected, your channels are running well, right? Your posture is natural, not like, hey, what do you want? Anyway, so have a good bucket, okay? And then from the rib cage, the shoulders, the head, right? Everything just situated on the bucket. See how your shoulder can relax. Isn't it? Right? And when we do this, the whole body moves. Beautiful. Yes. Okay? So this is the base. Throughout the day, every time we see a mirror, right, wash our hands or something like that, go over this. Go over this, right? Where's my weight distribution? How do I feel? Where's my bucket? Right? Oh, they're about the same. Right? Put it down, right? Because there's a mirror, we can see our shoulders. For you, your right shoulder comes up, right? Your left shoulder goes down a little bit right now, okay? But in time, because now you have a feedback system, right? You look at yourself and you're doing this and say, oh, that looks good. I feel good. I love myself.
I love myself.
And that's it. Okay? 3 seconds, 5 seconds, that's it. We're washing hands anyway. Okay? Do not take any more time. Do not stand there and say, oh, I love myself. I love my... No, please do not do that. This is not... people come to my clinic and say, John, I'm not going to be right because I did not meditate this morning. I said, stop meditating right now. Do not do it's like I didn't take my pill, so I'm no. Meditation is in life. Okay? And some people come in and say, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm late. Oh, there's traffic. I said, you're here, and that's me. And that's it. Right? So we use this, on a moment by moment basis, the best we can. So that's it, right? So this is like this. And then from this, we can start to walk, okay? So this is a bucket. It's full of water, precious water, okay? If we walk like this, water's going to come up. Okay? So the way we walk is to say, I'm going to move the entire bucket parallel to the ground, right? So I will actually literally move my bucket first and get my legs to follow. Okay? Then you'll feel completely different. Okay, let's do that. Okay, let's stand here. We're gonna walk around. So what you will feel, you're actually walking on a train track. Okay, let's try it. Your eyes level. Okay, I'm gonna push you right here. You can feel like your entire bucket moves. But your legs don't move. Okay? You only move when you feel like you need to balance. Exactly, right? Feel the lightness because your body is moving. Feel the lightness of your okay. Feel your body weight actually travels behind your knee to the ground, not in front of it. See, not as right? See, now your right. When your body weight travels through your knee, in front of your knee, everything feels better. Behind you. Okay, your body weight goes behind you. Okay, keep doing this, okay? You. So what we're going to do is I'm going to push you. You're not going to move until you feel. There we go. Beautiful. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Okay? See, your body weight now is traveling behind you. Right? Can you feel that?
I can, yeah.
Right? There's no pressure on your knees anymore. Right? Because they're just falling. You're a wheel. You're not like hitting the ground. Okay? So in the beginning, some people don't know how to walk. That's good. Okay, we're learning how to drive.
Right, yeah.
So that's what I learned after when I was 50. I took martial art classes. For 3 years, I got hit every time I spoke.
Yeah.
And I learned, honestly, that's the best 3 years. I learned that I don't know how to stand. I don't know how to walk. I don't know how to sit. And that's truly empowering. Okay, eyes level. Okay, eyes level means you still look at the ground with your peripheral. going to look at the ground because then your bucket is leaking water,
Yeah, perfect.
right? So your key is your body weight goes behind your knee. You just walking carefully. Okay. So I'm going to push you.
Okay.
Don't move yet. Okay. I'm going to push you. You're going to move until you feel it. There you go. Feel your full body weight behind your knee. While everything is natural.
Oh, yeah.
With a totally change that, okay? But that's the whole idea, okay? You're moving on a train track, and your legs or your feet are just,
It feels like
yeah. So now, you can move your butt back. Yeah, go. Yeah, go. Okay. Yeah. Right. No leaking. It's like water's everywhere. Beautiful. You're good. You look really good. What's your name? Stephen? You look great, okay? So you need our so you stand, make sure you move our stuff. So this way, this, and you here. That's what you want. Because otherwise this is more things. Then you move, until you feel like you can reach out. And you start out and you start out. And you can vary it. You can be slow, you can be hard, and you're not, your legs are just falling. So let's do a fast one. I'm gonna pass her. Okay? Okay, eyes low. Do it real fast. Know your body weight actually strong behind you. Okay? And move up. So really feel like a flow it's almost like a magnetic elevating meditation trend. Accelerate your body. Push your heart in. So your hips are not so this needs to be unlocked a little bit. This will start to unlock. So isn't that cool? You start to feel nice. So what's really right? So this actually makes you feel like you have to. Your body starts to change. Your body always listens to what you want. All right. So, oh no, don't worry. Okay. Oh yeah, that's fine. Thank you. Okay, one last thing. Okay. One last thing is our power. Where's our power? Okay. I'm gonna show you because you get it. Okay. So push. Okay. Push. So when you push, you release. Okay. Now try this. Okay. Push your wrist at the center. Your elbow close to your body. And this wrist connect to your run one. Now push me with your butt. Very well. That's how you use the power. Okay?
Yeah.
Everything you do, if you want to put it in the needle, put it in the needle with your bucket. Everything you do with your bucket. Because otherwise you leave.
Definitely.
Right? This one simple thing, and you repeat this over and over again during the day, right? Change. Yeah, that's your cultivation.
You have to watch me on Thursday.
Yeah. So
She's my intern.
yeah. So basically, you kind of whack each other. Okay?
Just give a little tap on G4.
That's right. Yeah.
We'll get a stick from,
Yeah. Get whips. Right? That's what bamboos are for.
Ashley give us something.
Yeah.
A striking
Okay.
stick.
So let's say you push me, right? So it's always the shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you want to do is this is your center. You align your wrist at the center. So your elbow is naturally here. And you align this to basically this point right here. You feel like this point is actually pushing me.
Okay.
And yeah. Beautiful.
Okay. Yeah, I got it.
Right? So your entire body is actually
Yeah, it's
behind you.
engaged.
Yes. Right. Yes. Push. Yeah, actually it's really good. Yeah. That's it. Okay. Okay. It's here, right? Okay. So align this in your center.
Okay.
Elbow close to your body.
Okay.
Okay. Your renwa is actually connected right here. Push me with your renwa. Very good.
Yeah.
If I push you,
Uh-huh.
receive it on your renwa. Is that cool? And you automatically discharge to your left.
Yeah, yeah.
And through the back of the knee, not the front.
Right, yeah. I did feel it there.
Right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
This is the power for Tui Na.
I was just telling Caitlin, because I took Tui Na, I feel like not enough, but like just 2 semesters, they did it.
Wow.
But that's,
It's really,
Yeah.
honestly, Tui Na is
Uh-huh.
really, this is Tui, this
Yeah.
is Na. They have to be used at the same time. If I just do Tui, you don't feel safe.
Yeah.
If these two are not equal, you don't feel safe,
yeah.
right? But when they're equal, this is Tui Na. And the power has to come from the body.
Yeah.
Right? Is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay. So you do have dampness that we need to resolve.
Yes.
Okay. You'll be great. Okay. You have a lot of blessings. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel lucky
yeah.
here.
yeah. So you look so much better.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we all may all have pain around this area. Okay. If you don't mind.
I don't mind, no.
Yeah. Around these areas. Okay.
Yeah. I have to be there for sure.
Self-care. Okay.
Self-care.
Go home, find these points. It's like, whew, that's interesting. Right? Even when we are painful, right? Truly light it up. And we can connect to loving kindness, right?
Okay.
From loving kindness, love ourselves. Make it bright.
Oh, make it bright, right.
Make it bright. Make it light. Make it warm. Okay? And just say, wow, it's trying to protect me. All this pain are protection. See, we transform. This is, in my opinion, this is how we transform anything we don't want into everything that's meaningful.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Trauma, pain, sickness, illness, death, right? They are all meaningful.
Right.
They all have a purpose. Okay. Cool.
Thank
So
you so
good.
much.
So good. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, this
Thank
is
you.
so wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. This is lovely, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really love it.
Yeah. Simple practice, right?
Yeah.
And it's like every step we take.
Yeah.
Right? Every time we stand.
Yeah.
See, now we have no trouble. Like, oh, just keep telling me things that I'm not interested. I'm cultivating.
Yes. I that's what I love about it, because I've always had, I know that, I've always had things that I felt like I should be doing, but never could quite do it. But this is more like, just live it.
Yeah.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow. Sweet.
Yeah.
It's not.
And I feel like I can do it, because I can live
I
it.
know. I know.
Right.
It's that.
Is that cool?
It's
Right?
not one more
So
thing.
when I walk
Yeah,
around,
exactly.
people just go.
Exactly.
I'll just bring some awareness.
They will be
to it
eating
when you're
lunch.
doing
Just
anything.
like,
Right. bring
That's good.
bring love and kindness to life.
Thank you so much.
This
Thank
is like
you.
this is wonderful.
Yeah.
This is
Being here.
wonderful.
Is it okay if I put this back into the room?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
because they'll use it, there's a therapy in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Okay, all right.